Okay, mic test 1 2 1 2, mic test.
One minute remaining.
Okay.
10 seconds. $49.3, and looking to the market on open imbalance, S&P 500, 14 million to the sell side, Nasdaq
Welcome
100,
everyone to
4
the Pro
million to the
Trade Room
buy side,
Plus, and I
the
also
Dow
want to welcome
30,
everyone on
1 million
YouTube.
to
We're
the buy
streaming
side,
this live this
and
morning.
the Mag 7,
We're here for ISM Manufacturing. My name is
0
Lee
million,
Goldstein, the Trading
pretty
Director of
much
10 Minute
balanced.
Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading futures. Okay, good morning, everyone. Trying to get this webcam streaming properly. All right. So if you are a regular in the room, then you know that there is a 9:45 report that we don't trade, but I'll be watching it. Final Manufacturing. What's interesting is they're giving it 3 stars now. And I think they've been giving it 3 stars for a while. But it's very difficult to trade events at 9:45. It's very close to the market open. And these particular reports, ISM Manufacturing and ISM Services, both of them have this 15 minutes earlier report that gets released. ISM Manufacturing has a report called Final Manufacturing, and they're not related. It's just the way the schedule is for the news. ISM Services, there's a report, Final Services. But every now and then they have really good moves, but overall they have been somewhat inconsistent. We haven't been trading them, but I do like to watch them. I tried trading them for years, so it's not that we haven't tried. And it's one of those things, if you watch it, sometimes you'll see it work beautifully, and other times you just won't. So you just can't lose any sleep over it. It is what it is. Now, we did have an official event last night. I don't know if anybody watched or traded the Kaishin manufacturing report last night, but it was a an excellent an excellent report. Um, I think if you used our targets, you wouldn't have made as much money as you possibly could have. It was a very interesting event. I was a little bit surprised. I recorded it. I wasn't trading it, just because Sunday night I'm not always available. We had a DMM though, and I did record it. It's trading copper on Chinese news. And previously in the week, the Chinese manufacturing, non-manufacturing did not work at all. So I was a little bit surprised. I expected the news to be good, because the previous reports, the manufacturing news was good. And these tend to be similar in their not their reactions, but in the news. It kind of took its time, hit the first target. The targets are small, but then watch what happens. What a boost up. So it hit our targets and then burst further. So that reports Kaishin Manufacturing, and it had a very good move. All right, so we're looking ISM Manufacturing. Let's take a look at our DMM. It's a 10 o'clock report, and we're finally getting an ISM Manufacturing report pretty much by itself. What's been happening is last month we had Jolts. April, it was by itself. Um, in March, it traded with Revised University of Michigan. February, it was by itself. January, we had Jolts. So we have been having important reports, have been trading with quite a few of the reports that were kind of used to them trading by themselves. There's been a little bit more mixing of news reports. And honestly, I don't really know why that happens or who makes those decisions. It's government agencies essentially release these reports. I don't think they
At
think
9:45
about
p.m. Eastern
this
Time, we get US
the way
S&P
that we do. I
manufacturing
think
PMI
they just
final
schedule these
forecast
reports. They
50
don't
spot
really
line
look
on the prior
at
50
what
spot
other
line.
reports are being released at the same time. I don't think there's
It's a
any
range
big
of 51 to
conspiracy,
50
if you
spot
know what I mean,
7.
where someone is sitting in an office and decides, oh, yeah, let's release ISM manufacturing with jolts just to screw the traders up. I think it's just very random when these are scheduled. And I think they're pre scheduled quite a bit in advance also. Anyway, today we have ISM by itself. So, you could look at last month. I have the video for last month, but I'm really not counting it in our results because JOLTS is a very strong report nowadays. So the really most recent ISM manufacturing would be April in terms of the move. And we've been trading a couple of different things, trying some different things. We've tried the ES trap and haven't been overjoyed with it. So we're sticking with bonds and gold. Gold has been the main event for this report for years and years and years. So you go back into April, and April was not an easy month. Bonds were on the left, and it was not terrible. It was profitable. There was a move on bonds. It's the first report I've ever seen on a video that I didn't put the time on. I guess I didn't have the clock on the screen. I don't think I've ever seen that in all the years that we've been doing this. And once again, I do want to thank the people that are watching us on YouTube. Don't forget there's a slight delay on YouTube. Um, and, hit that like button, hit the notification bell. We're streaming quite a few times during the week, but it's not obviously quite as good as coming into the trade room. So keep that in mind. The trade room is up to the second, pretty much. There's even a tiny bit of latency just on the internet from you to me. Tiny, though. So you could see bonds had a profitable move. It didn't really follow through big time. The ES didn't move enough for the trap trade. We've walked away. We're not doing the trap anymore. And gold has been having pretty steady, strong moves on this report. It's been definitely having tradable moves on this report. If we take a look at the DMM, gold has had quite a few winners. Now, it's interesting. I didn't even look at gold last month. We were trading bonds. And I think gold, look, there's no guarantee it's going to work today, but gold has been the stronger instrument to trade on this report. It is the way it is. That's the honest truth. Gold's been the strongest. Bonds have been more challenging. When I go through the monthly results, gold has lots of breakouts, but you got to remember that there's some jolts in here that makes it a little bit complicated. We had jolts in May. We had revised University of Michigan in March. So there's been some what we would call, I hate to use the word contamination, but there has been influence from other reports on some of the main reports that we trade. So that is the truth. And MB on the internet is saying I
At
always get
9:45 a.m.
slippage on
Eastern
gold,
Time,
a
we get
lot of
US
slippage.
S&P
I
Manufacturing
wouldn't
Worldwide
use the
Market
word always, but
forecast 50
gold
spot
is
9 on
not the
prior 50
most
spot 9 with a range of
liquid
51 to
instrument,
50 spot
and it
7.
sometimes is subject to poor liquidity. But we also know it also often has phenomenal trades. So my setup today, it's a breakout. I'm triggering at 9:59.59. We have a bracket at 12, and then the targets anywhere between 8. I think you can use targets anywhere between 8 and 40, I think is reasonable on this report. The stop is 20, and I will use target one stop move, break even, -4. You could use however you like to trade that. If you like to protect your first target, that I like to do. I like to protect my first target if it gets hit. I know sometimes it ruins the trade. Sometimes it pulls back, not enough to stop you out, but enough to hit your stop, and then it goes back on its merry way in the same direction as the trade. Sometimes also it protects you from a losing trade. It hits the first target and does a complete reversal. The stop is 20. Your first target is somewhere around 10. So if you get a complete reversal, that would be a losing trade. So there is some skill, some art, and some luck in managing the trade after you get filled if it doesn't explode and hit all your targets. All right. So the stop is 20. Now I am going to trade it for real. Let me check my account. Something a little bit weird. Okay. For some reason, my live account was not connected. That's okay. So I'll connect it. So I'll go back. I have a label. Okay. GCBRK is my label. And we've got our template. We've got our setup. And I've been doing some testing, so my setup is already here. And I'll test my brackets like I like to do. And I was talking to Chantal about this bracket situation, the way that I like to test my
Order
brackets.
submitted.
I mean, the truth is, if you start off and you're very tight together, when the trade takes place, most of the time it will be
Order canceled.
manageable. But I've been doing this for so long. Some things it's very hard to change habits. I like to see those brackets because it also allows me, if I need to manually, if I decide, for instance, I want to manually move my orders, like we used to do in the old days when we didn't have the adjust button. When we were
One minute.
doing earnings, we would move our orders sometimes. That's one of the reasons I like the orders spread apart so I can really see what's going on. But there's a negative side to that, and sometimes it appears the market is much more volatile than it is. Because if your charts are spread too wide or spread wide, then little moves appear as big moves. So you absolutely have to keep that in mind. Okay. Now, MB is asking, are you asking about the line,
10
MB? Is
seconds.
that the question you're asking? So MB is watching online, right? And he was saying,
Bonds
he or
spot
she, I don't know who
bonds
that
3
is.
higher than forecast.
Let me just get
Spot
my
higher.
trade set up. So, trade is set up, charts will be ready. And what he was asking, what they were asking, that when you have a trade, you get that vertical line that shows up. And some people don't like that vertical line. They feel that it gets in the way of their trade. So there is a way in the software. You open the strategy, highlight the strategy you're on, and scroll down. My guess is it's in optional. Show vertical line on entry and uncheck that and apply it and okay it. And you'll see I'm going to do that this trade. There will be no vertical line. Okay. And that vertical line, I agree, it can. I'm so used to it after so many years of trading this way. I do agree that it can get in the way of the trade a little bit. Now, for folks that want to trade bonds, the setup is very straight ahead. It's a six bracket, targets of 7 and 15 with a stop of 12. Okay. So if you're going to set up a bond trade on this, I would trigger the bonds 959.58. The bracket is six. Our targets anywhere between 6 and 18, I think is reasonable. I think 15 is way plenty on this report. Remember, targets are very personal, I believe. We're not saying that this is the exact target you must use. Um, I feel strongly that we recommend the bracket and the stop and the time. Those we feel are strong recommendations. Targets are much more personal and you can modify targets. Some people like to go for very big second targets. Some people like bigger first targets. Everybody has a different style of trading, and it's just not a law that the target is in stone. Okay. So targets anywhere between 6 and 18ish on bonds. The stop is 12. The bracket is 6. Now, I'm not trading a second bond setup, okay, but I'm gonna save this template so we have it for the next time. Call it ZN ISM. All right. And then I'm just going to call it ISM Man ZN and today's date. All right. What I'm kind of thinking about, what I'm thinking about, what size contract would I use for a one contract gold trade? So I would consider going for a 20, like a big target sander, like a 25, and use the feature if the market moves 15 ticks, move the stock to break even plus 10. So, in other words, if you're going to use one
We have
target on
open
gold,
sell 750
don't go for a tiny target.
bonds in
I'd go
auction
for like
receives
15 or
2.32
20.
billion pounds of
Okay.
bids.
One position, one target. And I'd use if the market moves 15 ticks, move my stop to break even plus, say, 11. That way you're protecting if there's a change in direction,
At
but you
10
don't have to
we try
use
and
the
get US
tiniest
ISM
target.
data,
Okay.
manufacturing PMI
And you could use
forecast
any
49
target
spot
and
6
any
on the prior,
movement, right?
49 spot 2, with a range of 50 spot
But I
2
think you
or
want to
80
go with
spot 2.
something reasonable.
ISM manufacturing
If
price
you're trading
action
just one
forecast
position, you
59
don't want to
spot
be
5
too
on the
greedy.
prior, 60 spot 9. Employment index prior 48
Everybody
spot
check your
6.
time
New
sync.
orders index
All right.
prior
Check
49
your
spot
time
1.
sync
We also get US
by going
consumer
to the
spending
website.
month over month
Time
forecast
is.
0.2% on the prior minus
Now, I usually
0.2%.
do that before I come into the room so that I don't have to waste time trying to get in sync if my computer is not in sync. Don't forget that on the trade room taskbar, there's a file folder called the room drive. And in that room drive, we didn't even look at the 945 report, and there was not much of there was a little move, but not really dramatic. Changed direction rather quickly, also. And the news was positive. All right. The manufacturer was positive. It has no bearing on ISM. I'm putting my chart on ES. Now, the ES actually had a more interesting move on that news, it looks like to me. And I'm just going to set up a reversal trade on the ES here using the reversal setup. Just one position, a 25 tick target, a 12 tick stop. Like I said, just one position. Maybe there will be a possible opportunity after the news. Remember, we've tested the ES a lot as a trap trade on this report. The one thing we know is that the ES does move on this report. All right, that we know. And I'll put that on my Top Step account. Just a reversal continuation, a one position, 25 tick target, 12 tick stop. And that'll be if we see anything that looks like maybe a possible opportunity, usually based on the news. Okay. And when you enable that reversal continuation trade, you get a set of buttons, instant long, instant short. Okay. All right, Frank, you're trading ZF, you said. So we've got a few minutes. Let's take a look at March. Now, March, this report traded with Revised University of Michigan. You know, Revised University of Michigan, we trade that report by itself. It's not a bad report. And we were testing the ES trap. We were trading gold. Gold had a very, very nice move. And the ES trap was destroyed by the burst. But gold had a great move in March, very profitable trade. Then in February, it was back by itself again. And we do look usually at that 945. See, there was like a little whippy, goofy candle there. So this was February 1st. Gold on the right. Gold looked like it almost looked like it moved a little bit early. And the ES, we were still testing the trap. And I believe the trap worked that month. It filled one tier, pulled
At
down.
10 a.m. Eastern Time, we get US ISM data, manufacturing
And
PMI,
believe
forecast
me, we've
49
tested
spot
ES
6
breakouts
on the prior
also on this
49 spot
report.
2, with a range of 50 spot 2 to 48 spot 2. Prices paid, forecast 59
And
spot
the
5,
ES trap
price
finally
60 spot 9.
did
Implicit
somewhat of a
index PMI
reversal.
48
That
spot
was in
6.
February.
New orders
Gold
index
had a
prior
nice
49
move
spot
again.
1. And we also get US construction
And then
PMI
let's
month
look
over
at
month,
January. Well,
forecast
January traded with
0.2%
jolts.
on the
So
prior
let's look
minus
at December.
0.2%.
Okay. Trading with jolts is nothing compared to trading alone. ISM manufacturing with jolts is not the same animal. It's just not. Okay. So there's our news. So let's look at December. ISM was alone in December, trading gold. We were looking at the euro in
Bear
December
in mind that
also.
the New York Stock Exchange Equities is investigating a reported technical issue.
Hits the first target. Then it was very, very choppy. Pulled back. I protected the first target. Looks like we made 10 ticks. And then, depending on the stop and where you got filled, would determine whether or not you survived for more movement. The euro actually had an interesting move, but we've kind of walked away from the euro on this report. All right, so my gut feeling is the manufacturing is going to be positive, better than expected, but I never trade a guess, okay? I'm not trading a guess.
Oil prices extend
You have to
losses.
make sure that
Brent
your
WTI
charts
futures fell by
match
over $2
the
a barrel.
account that you're trading. That's very important. Charts need to match the account you're trading. In other words, if you're trading a sim trade, and your charts are on live, you won't see your orders. Okay. If you're trading a live trade and your charts are on your prop account, you won't see your orders. So you got to make sure you match. I very much want to watch the congressional hearings. Fauci's being questioned today, I believe. And I'm just telling you the news that's going on in the world. The regular news is so crazy these days. Really, we live in a world that I don't know. I don't know if up is down and down is up anymore. I don't know if you all
One
feel the
minute
way I
remaining.
feel,
I'll
but
lead with US ISM Manufacturing
okay,
PMI.
we've got a minute, but I don't know what's going on anymore. The whole thing with Fauci, I don't want to talk about it now. We're too close to the trade. Okay, we've got 20 seconds.
10 seconds.
Order submitted. Order filled.
48
Order
It hit the
seconds.
filled.
first. All right,
Spot
a
7
great
open
way to
forecast
start the
49
week.
spot 6.
Watching
Target
the
contains
ES
57,
turning off my
57 low
breakout.
forecast 59
Order
spot 5.
submitted.
New orders index 45
Order
spot 4,
canceled.
45 spot 4. Employment
Turning off my
index
breakout.
51
I
spot 1,
accidentally double
51 spot
clicked.
1.
That's
And
why
US
my orders came
construction
back
spending
on.
month over month
Now, the
0.2%,
ES, I missed the reversal,
0.01%, lower than
folks,
4
because I
months
was
and
watching my
0.3%,
breakout.
seeing some
The
downside
reversal
risks.
was the high of the
Guidance
day
stocks.
on a report that reverses beautifully with the ES at times because we have it as a trap trade. But I missed it. Okay. It was too close to the breakout ending. So I just didn't have a chance to get in. Now, our new software, remember, we have that new feature, a new trade setup that could have taken advantage
US
of that
10-year
feature,
Treasury yields
the
for 12-month
reverse
data last at
breakout. Okay. You could have
4.16%.
set it up so that if you got to this level, you would have had an automatic reversal. So that's going to be awesome when we get it going for the challenge. We have an upcoming challenge release of the software very, very shortly. Okay, so we're getting ready. We just getting all our plans set up. Let's get a roll call. Who made money? Who made money? Um, 10-minute trades. We made over $400 on that trade. Give me a roll call. What'd you trade and how did you do? Tell me what you did and how what you traded. Sander, how did it go for you? Todd, do you realize that that's a really good trade for micros? To make $50 on a micro trade is really good. So, Sander, you went for a 20 tick target, right? You went for a 20 tick target. Brian, very nice on Buell Knox. Awesome. Bill, very nice profit on micros. Awesome. Sander, David, great trade. Good, good. A lot of people made money. A lot of people made money. Did anyone trade bonds? Did anyone trade bonds? Let's take a look at bonds. I'm going to turn off my ES. I wasn't going to chase it, but the opportunity was there for a reversal. All right. And I think that one of the things I talk about, one of the things I have to do better is not talk about what happened in the trade for 5 minutes and look for those extra opportunities because maybe we could have entered the ES for a test of the low. It's
Kazakhstan
such a
oil
tight
output down by
range.
6%
Such a
on
tight
daily
range
figures
today.
in
Now look at the news.
1.451 million barrels per
The
day,
news is
below the
interesting.
OPEC Plus quota
The
for
main
2026 May.
numbers were worse, way worse than expected. I would think the Fed loves that. I would think the Fed loves that. Um, it's gonna, it's a not super hot economy. That's pretty bad news. Maybe it's too negative. That's very negative. So we'll see what the markets do. Right now, the ES, it's not down a lot. Bonds, it's sounding like bonds had a pretty good move. Now you notice there was no line. Yeah, bonds. You got to be on the right contract. We're on 9 on bonds. Wow. Sort of sorry I didn't trade bonds in my top step. That was a very, very nice bond move. Good bond move. Brian, my fill was 57.30. Not too far from yours. 57.30. 4 ticks better. 4 ticks better. And one of mine was at 40. All right.
US
I
dollar
was 30
exposed
and
losses versus
40.
the yen after ISM and construction spending data. Last down
Just curious about
0.5% at
the yen.
156.42.
Today was a breakout day, folks. If we look at every instrument, we're going to find great breakouts, right? NQ, just the opposite direction. NQ had a great breakdown. Wait, let me correct that. NQ went up first, okay? Up first, then down, as did the ES, right? We saw the ES. The euro, but other than the US indexes, I think you're going to see all the currency futures and all the commodities had the gold type move today. And the indexes were much trickier. All right. And that's a strong reason why we like gold. I know some people don't like trading gold, and there are times when you hate trading gold. Now, Langford's been after me to do more with the YM. So Chantal and I have made a agreement. We're going to do more YM testing. So look, the YM looked like the ES. It moved up first and then it went down. It's always a question where you're going to get filled, how is your fill, and what kind of money are you getting from that fill. Hopefully, you're not getting filled at the top of the candle. But look at right to the VWAP, right? Right to the VWAP, and it pulled back. A little bit not close enough to the VWAP for a true test. It was a few ticks away. 2 ticks, in my opinion, is a test. 2 ticks counts as a test.
The euro
So if
gains
we look
versus
at
the
the
dollar after US data.
we look
Last
at the
down
instrument
0.2% at
right there, the
1.0826.
VWAP
Dollar index down 0.2% at 104.33.
was probably 4 or 5 ticks away from the top of the YM. However, a discretionary trader might happily have taken a short there. Okay. Gold also, we've traded as a trap trade on this report in testing. If you don't get blown out of your trap trade, there is a possible trap on this report, but we don't like it. I want to be honest. We don't recommend it. This report has been too good as a breakout. Now, I want to thank everybody on YouTube. I mean, why not hit the like button? You watched us trade an awesome money making trade, the second money making event of the week. If you followed our DMM setup, virtually every person that traded in the trade room is looking like they made money. I'm not getting any reports that anyone lost money. Send me some screenshots, everybody. Send me some screenshots to help at 10minutetrades.com, please. Do you know how to send a screenshot? Do you know how to take a screenshot? You can take a picture, include the money. Include the money. I'll remove your account number. I promise I won't send your account number in an email. But it helps us market. Honest, it helps us market. Okay. So MB, no line, no line. It does let you see the action a little bit better. And I want to thank everybody on YouTube. I'm going to close our stream. Thanks everyone on YouTube. Hit the notification bell because we'll be streaming again this week and you can come in and watch. Thanks everybody on YouTube.